Oh, this one had living in executive secretary. Oh, yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't like what they're doing.
Good evening. I'd like to call the November 6, 2023 meeting of the University Heights City Council to order. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mrs. Sachs?
Here.
Mr. Cooney?
Here.
Mrs. Wise?
Here.
Mr. Rock?
Here.
Ms. Marshall? Here. Ms. Weiser?
Okay, very good. All are present. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the reading and disposal of the journal. Is there a motion regarding the October 16, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
Okay, motion to approve by Mrs. Weiss. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. King. Any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, we call it.
That included the changes?
Yes, it
Okay,
will.
thank you. What were the changes?
The ones that were emailed, there were a couple of names that were misspelled, there were some typos, and then, I can't remember, so I made adjustment to the amount of,
Number of words.
yeah. So those were made.
Amount to the number of words?
The number of words in a Cleveland.com article.
Oh, okay.
They're very minor. I
Okay.
did make them.
All right, so changes noted. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sachs?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Very good, motion carries. Is there a motion to reconsider the minutes of the October 2nd, 2023 meeting?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Ms. Marshall. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Sachs. Any discussion on the motion to reconsider? Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sachs?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Abstain.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Very good, motion carries. The motion to reconsider the October 2nd, 2023 minutes having passed, are there any motions with respect to the October 2nd, 2023 minutes?
Yes, I do.
Sure, Mrs. Sims.
I would just like to say that immediately after that meeting, I listened to the audio, and the mayor had not said no, which I thought he did, in my notes. And the reason I had them in my notes is because when I went to look at it before, I was greened out. It wasn't intelligible. I had to listen to the MP3 version that Mrs. Thomas had posted. And so that was for my notes. I'd also like to just say that actions speak louder than words. Even though the mayor did not say no, he never acted upon getting the air quality tested from a qualified, certified air hygiene specialist. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
I move.
Okay, so this would be a motion to approve the October 2nd minutes without the addition of putting words into the record that I did not say?
Correct.
Thank you. Motion by Mrs. Spence, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Abstain.
Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, very good, motion carries. Thank you. Are there any additions or removals from the agenda or referrals to committee? Seeing none, we will take comments from the audience. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes. If you'd like to address the city this evening, please come on up to the podium, speak into the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and you may take up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Dan Barish, live at 4466 Main Street. So I've come tonight to speak in opposition once again to Chick-fil-A, which I thought we were done with, but apparently not. What I've understood is that at the last planning commission meeting, we decided to ignore our zoning, to waive it, which, as Mr. Rock stated, there's a reason we can't have a gas station next to our house. Zoning is what prevents that. And since we apparently don't care enough about the social aspects, the troubled history of Chick-fil-A, there we go. It's trouble being 6 foot tall. To make that be what stops us, more practical considerations should matter. The fact that we are ignoring our own rules should matter, and if it doesn't, then what's next? Number 2, the intersection there is horrific. It takes probably 5-10 minutes when, if maybe we had better cooperation with Southfield, but I don't know what the problem is because I know that light beyond that intersection away from us is in Southfield, but it's not entirely our doing. But the very thing that intersection most needs is a Chick-fil-A to make everything worse. I will grant that my silly alternate persona on Facebook, the dictator of University Heights, wants maximum suffering. But the real Daniel Barish actually hates suffering and especially is annoyed by the amount of traffic we already have. We don't need Chick-fil-A. There are so many better things to do with that space. And I'm just going to be very disappointed if that goes in. And I hope we make better choices than to ignore our own laws and make our worst intersection even worse. That's all I know.
Thank you, Mr. Barish. Is there anybody else who would like to address the city this evening? Yes, please. We do need you to speak in the microphone, please.
Okay. So I live over in Southview, but my name is Judy Schoenfeld. And I drove 2 blocks today from Bushnell over to Okolona. And in that 2 blocks, I came up Bushnell and I turned right onto Warrensville. There were 5 fast food places. There were 2 more restaurants, but they've been closed, Applebee's and Boston Market, who all converge in the same place. There's 6 banks, Huntington, Citizens, which also just remodeled so they can increase their traffic into their drive-through, Dollar, PNC, Ohio Savings, and Chase. So on the corner of Cedar and Warrensville, which has a lot of traffic, and the traffic lights are not synced because when you come, I guess, east on Cedar, if there's a bus in front of you and he turns onto, or there's a bus on Warrensville and it goes in front of Walgreens, people bust through those lights and then they stop traffic because they can't move until the other light by Arby's turns green, and so they're blocking traffic on 3 lanes of traffic. On the corner of Cedar and Warrensville, there's a Whole Foods Market, which generates a lot of traffic, a mattress store, which generates nothing, Walgreens, Macy's, and Target. Okay? And that's a lot of traffic coming through there all the time. You also have your buses, and they don't like coming to that intersection of Cedar and Warrensville, and so they cut through Okolona, Colony, and Eastway so they can have a straight shot at your depot, which is right here at Wiley. And it increases traffic all day long and is very obvious on the South Euclid part of Miramar. Now I understand there's supposed to be maybe apartments built, 240 of them, where behind Target somewhere, which is going to cause even more traffic because people in apartments go to work and everyone else goes to work down Cedar and comes home at the same time. So how much is all of this going to empty onto Miramar, which is only a 2-lane neighborhood street? It's not meant to have all this traffic, buses, trucks, all kinds of stuff come down there. So how much more noise, garbage, environmental impact will this have on the South Euclid Miramar and the University Heights side of Miramar? And if those apartments are built, will the traffic have to enter and exit either Warrensville, Cedar, or Miramar? So Wiley, I understand, is going to be a community center, maybe. So where does that traffic go? So there's a lot of traffic going into 3 streets that are already overcrowded, one of which was never meant to take this kind of traffic. And it's very upsetting, and I will be back on the November 20th meeting.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Schoenfeld. Is there anything else you'd like to address the city this evening?
Rachel Gross, 3845 Northwood Road. Good evening. My name is Rachel Gross, and along with my twin sister Sarah, I own Bialy's Bagels. I am here tonight to continue to voice my opposition to the proposed addition of Chick-fil-A in University Heights. In June of 2022, Forbes.com published an article titled 7 Reasons to Shop Local and Support Small Businesses. Number 1, stimulate local economies. Number 2, reduce the carbon footprint. Number 3, create more jobs. Number 4, give back to the local community. Number 5, better customer service. Number 6, nurture innovation and growth. Number 7, support the American dream. While each and every one of these certainly apply to my local bagel shop, let's visit number 4 for a moment. Giving back to the community. In April of 2020, my sister and I felt a very strong need to help support frontline workers battling the earliest stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. Inspired by our neighbors and good friends at Geraci's restaurant, we developed a dozen donation program. Our customers were able to purchase a dozen bagels for $10 that would be donated directly to local hospitals. Bialy's matched every dozen purchased, and from May of 2020 to July of 2020, we donated 500 dozen bagels from Hillcrest Hospital to Metro Health Hospital, with many stops in between. We also made donations to a food program at Heights High School. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not recall any fast food chain in the area doing anything of the sorts. Now allow me to take the liberty of adding a reason number 8 to the Forbes.com list: better treatment of employees. In September of 2020, we had an employee ready to return from maternity leave, but she couldn't figure out how to make that happen because she had to monitor her kindergartner during virtual learning. Most corporate chains in this situation would say, "See you later," but not Bialy's. We got a desk and a chair, and Layla attended her first few months of kindergarten at the bagel shop. When school wasn't in session, but mom was working, through a whole team effort, we were able to take her to the park, read her stories, and as a former educator, I was even able to do some fun mini projects with her. Again, I do not recall hearing about any fast food chain doing something similar, but I do recall hearing stories of their employees losing their jobs because they had to monitor virtual learning. Our small business made it work. In March of 2021, Bialy's was anonymously reported to the Department of Labor. Although this investigation cost us a small fortune in legal fees, I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that the results of the investigation turned up nothing. We had one small overtime violation that was immediately rectified, and we have been incredibly vigilant since to ensure we don't make the same mistake again. We did not realize that although our manager is on a salary, he is not overtime exempt because his day-to-day duties are considered hourly tasks. He was immediately paid every cent we owed him, and he now clocks in and out like everyone else to ensure he is paid overtime when he earns it. A Chick-fil-A in Utah had a similar violation in September of 2023, but owed multiple employees more than 9 times the amount of back pay that we did. The Department of Labor was also looking for minor labor law violations. We had 0. We take these laws incredibly seriously and diligently schedule our minor employees to ensure we are following the rules 100% by the book. You know who doesn't do that? Chick-fil-A. The same Department of Labor investigation in Utah resulted in $187,000 in fines for violations related to minor employees. Is this the kind of employer we want representing our community? In the past year alone, they've had several restaurants violate these laws in several different states across the country. I scoured the internet in search of a statement from the corporate offices of Chick-fil-A denouncing these practices. However, I was unable to find a single statement from anyone in the corporation. It's feeling more and more like this might be a done deal, but I truly hope this project does not move forward. As important as speaking out against this feels to me, I also believe it is important to be a part of the solution. So I will finish tonight with 2 suggestions. If I was fortunate enough to be able to afford the medical building and develop the land, I would go for either a bowling alley or a really fun miniature golf course. These are 2 activities I would love to have access to in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Gross. Is there anybody else who would like to address the city this evening?
Jeffrey Pearl, 2579 Lafayette Drive. I realize there is still one more city council meeting scheduled prior to Thanksgiving, but I wanted to take this opportunity to express some gratitude to some people prior to tomorrow's election. First off, in recognition for work beyond the norm, I want to publicly thank the service department for not only their always exemplary work, but special efforts in leaf pickup I saw on Saturday, as well as the hazard waste and paper shredding drop-off. Special thanks also to new service director Alan Pennington, who's made a great impression on many folks with how well things are coming along in areas of service for our city. Thanks also for all the efforts put forth by our police and fire department. The recent fire department open house and the regular collection of aluminum cans for burned children are both great. The police presence, protection, and participation on Halloween was noticed and appreciated by many residents. I believe we should also recognize all the hard work that has gone into the campaigning for the 4 city council seats that are being voted upon. Whether people are casting their votes for the incumbents or among the other 5 candidates running, I feel everyone has put a lot of effort forth that our entire community in University Heights should appreciate. No matter who wins, and regardless of my opinions expressed in person or through social media, I know that all 9 folks want the best for University Heights. Thanks to all the existing council, as well as the mayor, for the work that has been accomplished. Whether the makeup of council changes or not, on behalf of many residents, please do all that you can to move our city in a more unified path to improve what we have and work towards making our city better by committing to work together more cohesively in the coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burke. Is there anyone else who would like to address the city this evening? If there's none, then we will move on to reports and communications from the mayor and the taking of action thereon. We have a lengthy agenda. I will be brief. The City of University Heights received the Ohio Auditor of State Award from Ohio State Auditor Keith Faber. The award is presented for excellence in financial reporting in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and compliance with applicable laws for the fiscal year ending 2022. It reads further, the citizens you represent are well served by your effective and accountable financial practices. Or as I like to put it, another year, another clean audit, another recognition by our state auditor, always appreciated, may continue to be commonplace. We are a long way off from having to recreate the books from the previous administrations last year as we had to do for fiscal year 2017. My thanks go not only to Finance Director Dennis Kennedy and his team, but to all directors and chiefs and department heads who follow the best practices set forth by our finance office. Thank you all. Two more things. The Civic Awards are Wednesday, November 15th, 2023, 6:30 p.m. at the Jardine Room at JCU Lombardo Center. Looking forward to who is this year's Citizen of the Year, Employee of the Year, and so on. The Poet Laureate will be in attendance. There will be heavy appetizers and a cash bar. And much recognition for select individuals in the community who made a real difference in 2023. Susan Drucker is excused this evening, so I will announce that our next public meeting on the zoning code update is Wednesday, November 29th, 2023, here at the Wiley School. This room from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Sean Suter of ZoneCo will be here to lead the continuing discussion on the calibration of the code. I wrote this before the safety committee meeting, but yes, we will be discussing parking as one of the main issues. If you haven't already, don't forget to vote tomorrow. Thank you. This concludes my report. Next are reports and communications from the City of Council on the taking of action thereon. Mrs. Lund?
No report, Mayor.
No report. Are there any reports from any members of Council? Ms. Weiser?
There will be a building and housing meeting on Monday, November 20th at 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Weiser. Any other reports from members of Council? All right, very good. And then we will move to reports and communications from the directors of the various departments. First is Department of Finance, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Two quick things. We will have an appropriation amendment for the next meeting. That will include any or all of the items that are on the agenda tonight for approval. That will require some adjustments to the 2023 budget, and also appropriation adjustments for the approval of 3 labor contracts, actually 4. Those were not contemplated in the original budget for the year, so we're working on the cost of those through the end of the year, plus the retroactive payments back to July 1st. And I will also be wrapping up the month of October and hope to get some information out to everybody prior to the end of this week.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Any questions for Mr. Kennedy? Seeing none, thank you. Moving on to Department of Law, Mr. McConville.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. McConville. Public Safety, Police, Chief Rogers.
There you go, report.
No report. Thank you, Chief. Public Safety, Fire, Chief Perko.
No report, Mayor.
No report. Thank you, Chief. Service Department, Mr. Pennington.
Very briefly, just wanted to mention that we have begun our on-site evaluation for the recycling study. It began today and will be going throughout the week. So in addition to that, we have completed 2 passes of leaves throughout the city, and we're about a quarter of the way done with our 3rd pass of leaves throughout the city. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Pennington. Any questions for Mr. Pennington? Ms. Weiser.
Mr. Pennington, I know it's difficult. Is there any way that an announcement can be made about the streets there where leaves are being picked up?
Where we're at with that, it's somewhat difficult to make an announcement on that due to the fact we have anywhere from 2 to 4 crews out on a given day, and trying to determine exactly which streets they're going to be on has been a bit of a challenge, as we don't know until end of the previous day as to where they're going to be at. Making those announcements a little bit tardy in relation to letting people know from parking and that standpoint.
I know on social media, a number of residents have been asking, so if there's any way, that'd probably be very helpful.
Typically, we're not making that determination until that morning, as we're getting ready to go out.
Or we could tell them to check in the morning.
Thank you. Mrs. Sykes.
Thank you, Matt. I mean, just like we have signs posted for our fire hydrant flushing, I know we know that in advance. But I have seen just sporadically in the past, just not on any type of schedule, leaf collection today, tomorrow, something, just to see how that will go. And we appreciate some attempt. And if it's too late in the morning, then yes, cars are already parked there. But perhaps there is some way to roll that out, especially if more than one pass has happened without any success. Appreciate you considering
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rowe.
Yes, so I know the, policy to pick up leaves this year is through the vacuum as opposed to bagging the leaves. I just noticed on my drive here, there's probably 24 houses I passed that are already bagged leaves. So you're still accepting bagged leaves, correct?
We are accepting bagged leaves. However, the cost of that is about 5 times that of the bag.
That I understand, but I'm imagining that those 20 or so houses that I drove past that had bagged leaves weren't aware of the policy change. I did see it in the Friday wrap-up, but there's quite a few people who don't get it. So I just want to make sure it's still an available option. If someone wasn't aware, I don't want them to go out to their house in December and see the bags.
No, it is
still getting picked up.
Yes, it's still being picked up. It's something that we will readdress as we do our brush and yard waste.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Pennington? Thank you, Mr. Pennington. Building Department, Mr. Cheatham is out of town and he is excused. Housing and Community Development, Mr. Engelbrecht. No report, thank you. City Engineer, Mr. Cheney. You attended this evening because you have a couple of items, so thank you for being here in person.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I have 2 items on the agenda tonight. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. The 2 items I want to report on are both the water line jobs. The Saybrook water line project is 95% done. The paving, asphalt paving is actually scheduled for tomorrow. Once they do that, they'll have a little bit of cleanup to do and that project will be completed. The emergency project, which is on Silsby near Milton, there's 300 feet of water line that broke 6 times in 5 days. Cleveland Water immediately responded. They've been out here fixing the main and they hired a contractor to replace it. All the houses are on temporary water mains. The new water main is actually installed. It passed the air test on Saturday. Now it has to pass samples. It has to pass 2 samples in a row to make sure it's safe to drink. And once that happens, they'll hook up, there's 11 houses that are affected, 6 on one side, 5 on the other. And they hope to be doing that by the end of this week. It'll take them a couple days. They do about 4 or 5 houses a day. So they should be able to get done in 2 to 3 days with that, and we'll be able to then fix the road after that. So just wanted to report on the progress of those 2 items.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Mr. King.
Yes, Mr. Cheney. Is the water tower in Beechwood back in service yet?
That I'm not sure of. They took it out of service to paint it. They said when our water main kept breaking, they had another couple of weeks. So it's probably close. I couldn't tell you if it's back in service yet.
Okay. Hopefully I haven't heard of any other recurring issues, so hopefully we're past that. So thank you.
I would hope so too.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Brown.
I have a question for you. So last time we met, we were discussing the heating of the restrooms in the park, and with my understanding that the project went to you for design. I happened to have seen a set of drawings, and I noticed that the drawings indicate the building footprint's doubling in size to add 2 more restrooms. So I'm assuming the scope had changed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so when did that scope change?
When you received the NOPEC money, I believe.
Sometime.
Yeah. they wanted to not only winterize them and add heat to them, but also expand it because you didn't have enough. You have all those porta potties during the big events that you have.
So NOPEC is including money towards us, like as a grant for the expansion then, or just the heating?
It is eligible, from what I
Okay.
understand. Yeah, I mean, Deanna knows better than I do, and she did all that
Do
grant.
you know percentage-wise, is it a full coverage of it, or is there a match? Do we have to match a certain amount?
Mr. Rock, I believe there's a small match that we have to do, but it's actually a series of grants that we have had in escrow for a couple of years, so it's more than 1 year's worth of NOPEC money.
Okay.
I don't know the exact match off the top of my head, but I think it's very small.
Okay. Just because it was the first time we're hearing that bathrooms are growing, not a problem with that. I'm sure we need additional restrooms when there's concerts in the park. I just wish council would be notified, be told when there's projects. I know we were working. I know in the beginning of the year, you have explained that any projects coming before us, you will outline what the projects are, et cetera, but this is the first time I'm hearing about it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from Mr. Chin?
Nope, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chin. I waited until you walked away to say that. Communications and civic engagement. Mr. Cook has been excused from this evening's meeting. Economic development. Mrs. Drucker has also been excused from this evening's meeting, but I made the announcement regarding zoning. So that concludes the reports and communications of the directors. Next is the reading and disposition of ordinances, resolutions, motions, and consideration of agenda items. First item is a motion to enter executive session for personnel matters. This is in connection with the subsequent item B. Mr. Zalesnik, are you here? There, I see you now. Okay, very good. Is there a motion to enter executive session for personnel matters? Mr. Zalesnik, Mr. Kennedy will be joining us. Very good. Motion by Mrs. Weiss. Is there a second? Okay, second by Ms. Marshall. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King? Mrs. Sachs? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Weiss?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good. We will go into executive session. Everyone here is welcome to stay.
Oh, hey.
The man in the hour. I'm learning
My brain keeps kicking in. I'm so sorry. Oh, no, I can't get Dennis. I can't. Dennis is going to be Kelly's mom. It's when I'm trying to fidget. No, you're good.
It's amazing to me study the whole thing.
Sometimes I like to whisper things in there.
What's that?
Sometimes I just like to whisper things in there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, don't get Yeah, I'm always here. I live in Susan.
Oh, that's me.
I go here too. So.
Okay, got it.
One time I voted in person that was here. So here's the deal. I've been doing a kind of election. Because we're not necessarily the same.
Right.
Oh, so how's life?
Oh, pretty good. How about you? Yeah.
Yeah. How are things in America?
Oh, great. Okay.
So I knew you were your first chair oboist, and
A lot of long-standing issues.
well, congratulations.
Yes. One day,
No, it's really interesting because no, I mean, it always looks that bad.
I'm sure.
But it absolutely looks horrible.
So, what's going on?
I don't have the sound of my head and no license to be on top of it. Given that they got a substantial settlement out of the city of federal court. The city was on them for allowing zoning and fire safety and generating more garbage than was appropriate by one resident.
So,
well, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily assume that because
I appreciate the service leadership.
It's on the way.
I don't know that you can University Square is in and it's so much space. Sure, well,
and where's the
yes. But,
with the government and things like that.
good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That roof for better part of the year now. Like, their roof construction machines have been there so long, but I've been wondering, are you doing something
It seems like they had an increase in construction.
Yes. Oh.
I don't know what that's about. I've been tempted to ask one of the managers at customer service. Is there a timeline? But they may not even know. It may be above their.
Amazon owns them. I mean, it's
well, it may be a regional manager that's handling it, so the storing. Other than you can't go weird today.
Just make it a break. You know, speaking of local business, I made one successful rare trip to Walmart.
Oh, really?
And then I went directly from there to Heinz, but the night and day difference. You pay your staff well.
Yeah, I've been to Walmart once in the last 10 years, I would say. And before that, I hadn't been to Walmart previous 15 years because every time I go, it's such a miserable place. I don't care how much you live I would much rather go to Target or 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like I wanted exactly one. I wanted of drones. I can use my shoelace. They didn't have I can use a shoelace, but they were all too short of it. Nothing completely different. That's what happens. So, back to Amazon.
Years ago, there was probably good 15, 17 years. I knew somebody whose cousin or something was in there. There was a 7 center home. And they needed, I think, some length of chain where that fit somebody that could change. Like, it's like the pay by the length. So it's pretty much set. So you have to have it.
Where like closes on sitting over there. Oh, okay. It's like really think about what
this. We went to the food section. It's different. So I go over to the kid that cut his foot. I get it. You gotta take this seriously. You're gonna work super right. And you're deciding what keeps you yeah, somebody else.
That's a good way of sure. She did. She did well. So we have a lot of
council
we have some connections in there maybe that might things like the book pieces with cost for obvious reasons, right? So I mean
so
my parents are very glad. Thank you. Yeah, we didn't sell
and most people
but I've seen this before and it's all very much I don't know how much it means.
So I don't see that. I just laugh.
I'm sorry.
November 8th recall. It's started to recall.
I'll tell you one thing.
We'll see what happens.
That's true, but I was also just thinking what we really need here is
No, there is a term.
Oh, there is a term?
No, this is last year.
Oh, it's not what I wanted. Well, that's a rhetorical question. I could have put the law down.
Well, we brought that charter amendment after Mayor Rothschild was in for 15 years. So, he's going to, they are changing.
Oh.
And then council can run again.
I see. So what's the term limit on council? Two fans on the mayor.
4 years.
And then there's four.
Interesting. I didn't know that somehow.
So here's a question. So Michelle Weiss is
Yes.
So what is being vice mayor?
I don't know. I guess probably she becomes mayor of the she appoints heads of committees.
Oh, okay.
She points out a committee.
Now, is that the person, when they run for that position, do they run for the?
No,
they're elected by council.
By the council. That makes sense.
So this charter amendment that we have, this charter amendment, that the mayor would run the council.
Okay.
The vice mayor. That should pass.
So does that mean they are?
No, we still can't.
He just won't run.
Come to civic awards.
So are you accepting the, are you presenting?
It's awesome. We have a host this year.
When is he?
Mike was able to get Rachel Badaj.
I think it was on there.
John Gill graduate.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, it's good to see you. And I'll have to text Ann and see how it all went. Oh, yes. So what, yeah.
That's good.
I love it. And
Yeah.
I was saying to that, like, if his
Good. Well, folks are good. So nice to meet you.
Yeah.
There are other jobs that the vice mayor, like the vice mayor will fill any openings.
Okay.
Or decide how to fill the openings on council.
Gotcha. Are you Sean Hill? We know some people in common. I know this on Facebook. You know Becca Rice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do any music? Or?
Well, I used to, not used to, but before COVID, when my husband and I would contra dance all the time.
Oh, nice.
That's how we met.
Awesome. Okay.
Well, we actually met Becca and Brad through English country music.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was playing violin for local bands.
Okay. Yeah, I play a role in the Akron Hymns.
Sounds fun.
I got to know Becca through camp.
Okay.
Small world.
Small and getting smaller. I've been playing the active dance community since undergrad. I love it. We want to get back to it. We want to do it while mask wearing is still a thing. I just don't want to dance while wearing a mask. I don't see how I'd be able to do it. So we're hoping that COVID will keep laying low or lay low even more, and then we'll be able to get back to it. We do travel. We go out of town.
Oh, yeah.
Go to 5 or 6 weekends a year.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So other than go here, what do you do? What do I do? Yes. I work a lot. I hang out with my friends and family a lot. I'm part of the North Coast Men's Chorus. Nice. Yeah, which is about a 70-person chorus, and we perform three times a year. Nice. I like that a lot. Cool. I've been part of them for about 10 years. Cool. Must be a nice type of good singing voice.
I think
it's fun. Tell me how that goes. I can get paid to stop singing.
Is there a motion to exit executive session and return to regular session?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Weiser. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Weiss. Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Ms. Weiss? Aye. Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Should step out for a minute.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries and we are back on the regular session. Our next item is item B, ordinance 2023-62, establishing the salary range and pay rate range for non-bargaining unit employees and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency. Mr. Zalesnik, if you would approach the podium and you will have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Like the Mayor said, before you is a salary ordinance memorializing the current rates of pay for non-bargaining unit personnel, as well as providing flexibility to provide potential general wage increases to those employees should the city see fit.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Zalesnik. Mrs. Wallace.
Yes, thank you. A couple of things. Just the first thing, I just like as a law director, I do have some comments, but can we make this first reading as opposed to on emergency?
Yes, if there's no motion, it will be considered as on first reading.
Okay, great, thank you. So just a couple notes that I'd like our HR rep to possibly update after discussion. The first thing is there will be job descriptions that will be sent to all of the council members before the next reading. And I do have a couple, I think they were just errors on the actual salary chart. The first thing is where the clerk of council is, that pay range is not in line with everybody else's. That needs to increase the top another $7,500. The same thing with the service department director, that actually has to increase $12,500. If you compare to all of the other directors and like positions, those two are not in line. The second question I had was for the finance director. There's two items that say deputy finance director full-time and part-time. We currently don't have one, right?
We have a part-time deputy.
Oh, she's called a deputy?
Yes.
Okay. And she's part-time?
Yes.
So, and then the finance associate is the other person in the finance department, correct?
Correct.
So.
That's a part-time position.
Okay, is there a need to even have the line of a deputy finance director full-time then?
I believe that was something that we briefly discussed, that in the event that that position would be replaced, you could perhaps get somebody that would be full-time as opposed to part-time.
Okay, so you're comfortable with keeping that so we have an option possibly in the future?
For the time being, yeah.
Okay. All right, so those are, the last thing, the last note would be just for the next reading, if we could have what our current pay range is so we can compare to this updated one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further comments? Seeing none, if there is no motion, we will treat this as being on first reading, and we will consider the first reading having been had. Thank you. Next is item C, Resolution 2023-67, recognizing the accomplishments of Cleveland Heights University Heights High School senior Nathaniel H. Tisch, who has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. We have a resolution here introduced by all of council. Whereas the rank of Eagle Scout is the 7th and highest rank in the Boy Scouts of America, and whereas less than 10% of all Boy Scouts complete the journey to become an Eagle Scout, and whereas the dedication to achieve the rank of Eagle Scout requires a commitment to integrating into one's life the lessons of lifelong learning, resourcefulness, and leadership, and whereas the multi-year journey to the Eagle Scout rank is one of the most demanding and transformative experiences a young person can undertake. Along the way, an Eagle Scout acquires skills through the Merit Badge program, develops confidence in the outdoors, practices leadership, and plans, develops, and implements a service project for the benefit of their community. And whereas Nathaniel Tisch dedicated his Eagle Scout service project to beautifying the landscape at the University Heights Library, bringing together 16 volunteers who dedicated 80 volunteer hours to make a landscape plan a reality. And whereas, as a member of Boy Scouts of America, Troop 179, Lake Erie Council, Nathaniel Tisch successfully completed his Eagle Scout Board of Review on August 18, 2023. And whereas Nathaniel Tisch of University Heights is a senior at Cleveland Heights University Heights High School, a 4-year member of the varsity swim team, and a member of the school orchestra as a violinist. And whereas Nathaniel Tisch also lends his musical talents to the Cleveland Orchestra Youth Orchestra. And whereas Nathaniel Tisch puts his swimming skills to use as a Purvis Park lifeguard. And whereas the members of the University Heights City Council, whose names are affixed below, wish to recognize, applaud, and make public to the residents of University Heights Nathaniel Tisch's many achievements. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of University Heights, Ohio, that Section 1 Council hereby offers its sincere congratulations to Nathaniel H. Tisch for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. Council further applauds Nathaniel H. Tisch for his stellar career as a student at Cleveland Heights University Heights High School. Council wishes Nathaniel H. Tisch well in all of his future endeavors. Whereas it is hereby found and determined that all formal actions of this council concerning and relating to the passage of this ordinance were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements. There are signature lines for myself and every member of council, together with the clerk of council on the law director. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion to approve this resolution by Ms. Weiser. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll take a second from Mr. Cooney. Any discussion on the resolution? Yes, Mr. Cooney.
My older son was in the Scout program at Jesu School, and there were a few of the Scouts that did achieve the rank of Eagle Scout when he was there, and the commitment from that person as they go through the ranks to achieve Eagle Scout is, quite frankly, it's impressive. It is a long-term, process that the individual goes through, and it's about serving others as you achieve different ranks within Scouts. And so my, sincere congratulations. This is a remarkable achievement.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cooney. Mrs. Wise.
And here, I'm not sure if you know that Mr. Tisch is in the audience.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
His son is.
I was hopeful.
Not be able to come.
I thought that was you, Mr. Tisch, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to presume. Thank you for being here. And wonderful. Thank you. Our best to you and your son for this achievement. Yes, Ms. Wise.
Just for the record, I understand that he is actually at a college. He's out interviewing them, I hope, rather than them interviewing him. Hopefully they'll be able to stay in at least the college of his choice, and certainly we are all very impressed.
Very good. Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King.
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney.
Aye.
Mrs. Wise.
Aye.
Mr. Rock.
Aye.
Ms. Marshall. Aye. Ms. Weiser.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Tisch, we will circulate amongst ourselves the resolution, and everyone's here to sign it, so you should be able, I think, to leave with it. Is that okay, Mrs. Thomas?
Unless you want to write it or anything?
We could do that. It's not like you're not local, so why don't we, maybe we could take a picture of the resolution with Mr. Tisch, and then we can frame it and present it that way to your son. Why don't we take a moment and circulate it?
Anybody else? Wait,
This side still needs a Kelly. This side.
I'm going to send it.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, let's get up and go to the
Oh, Sally, is that your pen? Oh, I should keep it.
All right. Mr. Frank, could you take our picture? And would everyone like to come up and we can present this to Mr. Tisch? So we can do this together. And let's get everybody up here. And you too. Okay, ready here. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, it was on cinematic. Camera. Okay, we'll try this again here.
You need help like that.
1, 2, Very.
Wow. Thank you.
Mr. Tisch, if you could, well, we have contact information for him. Okay, we will take it. Thank you. All right, we will then move on to the next item on the agenda, item D, motion to accept nominations for resident appointments to delay financing. Is that Mrs. West?
Yes, thank you. Currently, the Finance Committee has 3 empty positions for the lay piece of that. We have circulated the resumes of people that have been interested, and I would like to nominate, especially because we have budget hearings coming up, to fill those 3 positions. Mr. McConnell, do I have to nominate separately, or can I do that all at once?
We would typically nominate separately.
Okay. So the first person that I would like to nominate is Sean Belt.
We have a nomination and a second. We're going to these one at a time. Mrs. Weiss, how many appointments were you filling?
There's 3.
3. Okay, so
We have the items split up on the agenda, but it's really something we can handle all at one time. I think the question would be whether there's any discord as to who's being nominated, because you can entertain more than one nomination for a particular spot. But if people want to clarify that there isn't such discord, we can proceed to vote one by one. It's really, you may want to have that conversation amongst yourselves.
yeah, okay, Mrs. Sachs.
Thank you. Thank you to all the 3 people who have submitted your resumes. They are stellar. You've been involved, and I look forward to your contributions. You have a lot to offer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I do not see the resumes in the packet, so I do not have.
They were I have them from the, what was it, the Finance Committee?
They're from the Finance Committee and the City Council also, I think I guess the 13th.
I have it from a previous meeting. I don't have it from this meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Rock? I serve on the Finance Committee and got to meet everybody, and just a wonderful group of people. We're going to have a full committee again, so I look forward to that. I have no problem approving these all together, since I plan on voting yes for all of them.
Mr. McConville, how long is the term on the Lake Finance Committee?
I don't recall. My understanding is that we're filling unfilled terms that may be expiring soon. But I don't know how long any given term is by memory.
My recollection is that it's 2 years and they'll be expiring at the end of this calendar year. Okay. Mr. King?
I was going to say the same thing. I reviewed the relevant ordinance before the meeting, just in preparation, and your recollection matches mine.
Okay, thank you. So we have one nomination on the floor.
I think the question to ask at this point is there another nomination as to the particular position that we have a nominee for? if there's no other nomination, then we would take the roll, and then we would proceed to the next nomination.
Oh. All right, if there's no further discussion, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll on the nominee, Schoenfeld?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Is there another nomination?
Yes, I'd like to nominate Emily King. She'll also be an asset to the finance committee.
Okay, we have a nomination of Emily Keene. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Marshall. Any discussion on this nominee? Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
The last nomination is Charles Pattison.
We have a nomination. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Sacks. Any discussion on this nomination? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, very good, motion carries. So I believe that exhausts letter D and letter E on the agenda. And we will then move to letter F, ordinance 2023-57, approving the amendment of Article 5I of the bylaws of the Norma self-insurance pool declaring an emergency. This is an emergency. Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. This is basically to allow the insurance consortium that we are a member of to hold their meetings remotely as opposed to in person. That expired in accordance with some of the other emergency provisions after the pandemic. And I think from a personal standpoint, and it's also a shared opinion from the other finance directors that participated in the group, that we can get just as much done remotely through Zoom, through shared Excel files, agendas, that sort of thing. Right now, traditionally, we have the meetings out in Hudson, so we throw the travel time and going back and forth. It does become a little bit of a burden for sometimes routine things that need to be voted on. So I don't know if Mr. McConnell has anything else. I believe Mr. Cicero is in support of this.
He is, there are a number of other communities that have already adopted this change, and I think it's really just for convenience. I don't think there's any other motivation behind it.
I'd agree.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion? Or there's no motion yet. Is there any discussion on this item? Is there a motion to approve on emergency?
So moved on emergency.
Okay, motion by Mr. King on emergency. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Weiser. Any discussion? If there is none, then we will take two votes. The first is on the suspension of the rules. Mrs. Thomas.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Nominating motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is item G, ordinance 2023-58, authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for natural gas service with NOPEC for natural gas. This is on emergency. Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you, Mayor. Our current contract with NOPEC for natural gas expires at the end of this month. I asked them for a proposal for renewal. This is a 2-year renewal at the rate of $3.91 per MCF. Right now, that is about 58 cents per MCF, lower than the rate that would be offered if we wanted to separately enter into a contract through NOPEC. So It's a good deal. Prices are going down. This will lock us in at that rate for 2 years.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Any questions for Mr. Kennedy? Any discussion on the item? If not, is there a motion to approve on emergency?
So moved on emergency.
Motion to approve on emergency by Mrs. Sacks. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Cooney. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take 2 votes. Mrs. Thomas on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
And then on the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next is item H, ordinance 2023-60, amending subsection A, codified ordinance section 891.05, entitled Annual Return, filing and declaring an emergency. This is on emergency. Mr. McConaughey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just as some background for council, the next 5 ordinances, including this ordinance, are all amendments to the city's existing tax code that are required as a result of the passage of House Bill 33 by the Ohio Assembly. That law was passed in late June of this year, and we, along with all of the other RETA municipalities, have been waiting for guidance from RETA as to the particular sections of our ordinance that need to be amended. Because we have adopted RETA's model ordinance. We did get that guidance within the last couple of weeks, and so all 5 ordinances are being brought before you today. There's no need for passage this evening. We can consider these on first reading. We just have to have them in effect by the end of the year. This first ordinance is an ordinance that essentially is in service of a provision in House Bill 33 that indicates that no individual under the age of 18 years old shall be charged with any municipal income tax. That has always been an elective component of the tax code. It does not require any substantive change to our tax code because we have previously enacted a provision that says just that, so this particular change will be government neutral for us. However, RETA said even if you've already elected to exempt individuals under the age of 18, we'd like this change to your ordinance for purposes of the ease of their administration. So that is the first ordinance. Most of these are pretty technical. I'll walk through to the best I can to explain the changes to the code, but these are ordinances that we do have to adopt.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. McConville. Sorry. Yes, Mr. Rowe.
Mr. McConville, did you say as part of this House bill, taxpayers under the age of 18 would be exempt? So I guess I'm just confused. In the packet here, we struck that 18 years of age or older.
And that's because we have a provision elsewhere many municipalities are changing 2 sections of their code in tandem. We don't have to change the one section because we already are exempting people under 18. They want to see this particular language in the ordinance, and so we want to make RETA happy. They're administering our tax ordinance. In most cases, they've asked for this change, and that's the reason.
I understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Though Mr. McConville said that we just need to pass these this calendar year unless there is an objection, I would encourage passage this evening, just simply just because it would be cleaner we get it behind us. But, obviously we'll follow the lead here of the council. Is there a motion to approve on emergency?
I'll make a motion to approve on emergency.
Very good. We have a motion to approve on emergency by Mrs. Weiss. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Mr. King. Any discussion? We'll take 2 votes. First is on suspension of rules. Mrs. Thomas.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
And on the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Next is item I, ordinance 2023-61, amending codified ordinance section 891.03 entitled imposition of tax to amend the regulations therein that apply to businesses by adding provisions that regulate reporting of income for remote workers and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency, Mr. McConville.
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to House Bill 33, businesses may now report, they may now make an election with respect to remote employees. And the election is essentially to choose an apportionment formula with respect to what's known as the reporting location of the employee. So the business can either elect to report the income solely to the community in which the individual works remotely, or alternatively, they can choose this apportionment election, which allows them the flexibility to either choose the municipality where the individual is working remotely, or to choose any other location that is owned or operated or controlled by the employer.
Okay.
One additional thing there,
Yes.
just so everyone knows, it only applies to net profit filings.
That's right. It does
It
not.
does not relieve the employer the responsibility to withhold for remote workers.
Yeah, thank you for making that distinction. This is a change that relates only to the net profits tax, not to the withholdings.
Okay, very good, thank you. Thank you for clarification as well. Any discussion on the motion? And if not, or on the item, and if not, is there a motion?
So moved on emergency.
Okay, a motion to approve an emergency by Mr. King, is there a second? Second by Ms. Marshall. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, we'll take two votes. The first is on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
And on the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Next is item J, ordinance 2023-63, amending subsection G of codified ordinance section 8.05 entitled annual return filing by extending certain filing deadlines and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency. Mr. McConnell.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance provides an additional automatic 1-month filing extension for businesses who elect to take the federal extension. So in effect, the business is now able to take what amounts to a 7-month extension on their municipal return. This is a right that currently exists for individuals. It's being extended to businesses. This also implements for all taxpayers the right to recover costs or fees that they incur in connection with notices that they might receive from the municipality in an instance where they've taken the extension. So my understanding is that it's the city's practice not to send any such notices to any taxpayer until the extension period has expired, and so we'll have to extend that practice to the business returns as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Anything to add, Mr. Kennedy?
No, that's
Okay.
pretty comprehensive.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve on emergency?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Weiser, is there a second?
Second on emergency.
Okay, second by Mrs. Weiss. Any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll first on the suspension of rules.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Now the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, very good, motion carries. Next is item K, ordinance 2023-64, amending subsection C of Codified Ordinance, section 891.18, entitled Interest and Penalties, to add sunset and rebate provisions related to penalties for failure to file and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency. Mr. McCombie.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance would enact provisions that would allow the city to implement a $25 fine for taxpayers who fail to timely file their return. However, that $25 fine will be subject to refund to those taxpayers who essentially are a first offender, if you will. If it's your first time failing to timely file, you can get your fine money back.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. McConville. Is there a motion to approve on, oh, sorry, Mr. Kennedy, it looks like you had something.
No, just so everyone knows, the current penalty is $150 for late filing. That's the max, but the legislature lowered it to $25.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Is there a motion to approve on emergency? So, motion by Mr. Cooney. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Sacks. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Thomas will take two votes. The first is on the suspension of the rules.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Now on the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Very good, motion passes. Next is item L, ordinance 2023-65, enacting codified ordinance section 891.27, entitled Election to be subject to revised code 718.80 to 718.95 and declaring an emergency. This is an emergency, Mr. McConville.
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance would allow taxpayers to opt out of the municipal code into certain provisions of the state code, pursuant to which a single filing can be made with the state rather than multiple filings made to municipalities where a business has locations throughout the state. So essentially it's creating a register for centralized filing for businesses who operate across the state. The state then apportions money to the municipalities in accordance with their respective tax codes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. McConville. Mr. Kennedy, anything to add?
No, there's also a small provision pertaining to how much time we have to notify the state tax commissioner of changes to the tax rate.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
60 days.
There's a whole process that's put in place with the provisions of this ordinance where the tax commissioner is notifying us of taxpayers who make this election. We're providing information back to the tax commissioner so they can accurately apportion the tax.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve on emergency?
So moved on emergency.
Motion by Mrs. Weiss on emergency. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Mr. Rock. Any discussion? We will take two votes. The first is on the suspension of the rules. Mrs. Thomas.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
And then on the main motion.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next is item M, ordinance 2023-66, enacting codified ordinance, chapter 216, entitled Prohibited Campaign Contributions and declaring an emergency on first reading. Sponsor is Vice Mayor Weiss. Mrs. Weiss.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This ordinance was a very collaborative endeavor by Council and the Finance Committee. Just a couple highlights, and then the law director can chirp in if I missed anything. This is self-monitoring, so it's something that every candidate needs to be aware of, and if passed, the Board of Elections will give it out when the candidate pulls their petitions. So there is also no criminal offense. That's a major point of this. The mayor and council have the same spending limits. It was an exhaustive process to try and get to these limits. We looked at state and federal codes as well as a 10-year look back of the actual city of University Heights of what different candidates spent. Just a quick highlight of each section. An individual can contribute up to $2,500, a PAC $500, no vendors and no corporations can contribute anything, and employees of the city can contribute $100 to a candidate. If there is a question that has a grievance, there will be a campaign finance review board that will be set up. If the candidate is found guilty, they need to pay back the money as well as a $200 fine. I believe those are the highlights of that. Mr. McConville, was there anything that I missed?
I believe the penalty provision reads that on a first offense, penalty is disgorgement of the contribution back to the contributing party. And then on a second or subsequent offense, the penalty would be disgorgement plus the $200 fine. It is a civil fine. There's no criminal component of the ordinance. The referral of violation of the ordinance is made directly to the law director. The law director can do one of three things. He or she can make the determination that the complaint has no merit, and that would end the matter. He or she can refer the matter to the board that Mrs. Weiss referenced, or the law director can do nothing. If the law director does nothing, the complaint automatically goes to the board. The board is made up of 3 members. The composition of the board it mirrors our Civil Service Commission provisions insofar as only 2 of the 3 members can be from the same political party. So there has to be diversity of political parties amongst the board. And the ordinance also contains a provision that all 3 members of the board not be residents of the city, so that an additional layer of impartiality is added to the review.
Okay, very good, thank you. Anything further by anyone on this matter? Well, then we will consider the first reading to have been had. Next is item N, a motion to accept the bid for Fabrizi Trucking and Paving Company as the best and lowest bid for the 2023 East Scarborough and Canterbury Relief Sewer Contract in an amount not to exceed $179,807 and approve entering into a contract with the same. Mr. Cheney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We opened bids on October 20th. We had 4 bidders for this project. The project consists of an installation of 230 feet of sanitary relief sewer on Canterbury from East Scarborough down to Meadowbrook. Down at Meadowbrook, it will tie directly into the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District deep tunnel. The project will eliminate sanitary sewer overflow connection that currently allows sanitary sewer when it overflows to go into the storm sewer, which eventually goes into the environment. This project was recommended to us by the sewer district in their SSES study. It is also, I put partially in my letter, but it's actually mostly funded by the sewer district. We have an MCIP grant, which is Member Community Infrastructure Grant, for $86,000. We have our own community cost sharing dollars, another $86,000 for that. So the total funding we have is $173,903 with a low bid at $179,000. We are eligible to apply for more construction community cost sharing dollars, which we are in the process of doing that. Linda Mayer was out this last week, and I didn't get a chance to finalize that agreement, but we will do that. We'll probably be able to get this 100% funded. I'm pretty confident of that. So, Fabrizi has done a lot of work for the city of University Heights. They're a good contractor, and I recommend we enter into a contract with them as the lowest and best bid at $179,807. And Mr. Kennedy, it is reimbursable, So we do have to expend it first, show them the cancel check, and get it back from the sewer district. The construction schedule for this is 30 days. By contract, they have to be completed in 30 days. If it's awarded tonight, we should get started by the end of the month, and we'll be done by the end of the year.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Any questions for Mr. Cheney? And if not, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Weiser, is there a second?
I'd like a second.
Second by Mrs. Sacks. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Then next is item O, a motion to approve the change order request number 2 with CA Aggressive Construction Company in the amount of $29,062.77 for the 2023 road program. Mr. Cheney.
Yes, thank you again. Change order number 1, if you recall, was a storm damage that happened on August 14th when that monster tree fell down on Ashurst and took out a lot of pavement and brand new curb that we had just installed. So this is change order number 2. The first one is extra work added to the contract, which we'd like to add to the contract. On Glendon Road, it's behind Jesu. Cleveland Heights University Heights School District has had a mobile unit there for, I want to say 3 or 4 decades. I don't even remember when it was put in there. It was the old separation of church and state. It was state funded, extra help remedial reading, I think it was, when my kids were there. And it had to be in the right of way. So it was installed in the right of way at Glendon Road, not on church property. Cleveland Heights University has removed that mobile unit 2 weeks ago. And what's left is, I put it in the packet, there's some pictures there to show you. It's not pretty. The curb was taken out. There's a beat up old slab there that the unit used to sit on. And my recommendation is to extend that curb all the way back to the driveway where Glendon meets Conover, and just clean up all that curb on that side. Aggressive did all that same work on the Miramar side, because that was part of our road program this year. And I'm recommending that we do that. I'm not recommending we do the curb on Jesus' parking lot. I talked to the pastor and the principal and told them that's on them. They could use Aggressive if they want, or they could hire their own contractor. So that's the first part of the change order that I'm recommending. The second part are final quantities. We've gone over the final quantities for the project, and it is done. And I compared when we do estimated quantities, when we bid this, it's unit prices. It's so many linear feet of curb, so many cubic yards of asphalt, so many square yards of pavement to be replaced. And you can't see that really until you take the asphalt off and then you determine what days to repair. If the iron, it exposes the iron, and if you have to remove the iron, which is the catch basin, the lids, manhole lids, and things like that. Anyway, several of the streets came in under budget, or right on the budget, and Charlie was over budget on this. And the reason for that is we estimated Charlie to stop at the Dysart intersection. And when I reviewed it going out there in the field, all the previous resurfacing projects also stopped at that intersection, did not go into the intersection. We're not going to be there for a number of years from now to even get back in there. It made sense to do the entire intersection with Dysart and Charney, which included all the handicap ramps. What that ended up being is an extra $13,000 to the contract for the 2023 road program. So the two change orders together add up to the $29,062.77, and I'm recommending it for approval.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Are there any questions for Mr. Cheney? Mr. Long.
Okay, my question is about this mobile unit. So walk me through this real quick. So the school board, right, owned the mobile unit?
Correct.
And it was placed on right of way?
On Glendon Road.
On Glendon Road. And we never got any rent or anything for it being there for so many years?
I have no idea what the agreement was. Like I said, it's been there for decades, prior to me.
And so the removal of the unit is what caused the damage?
Well, apparently the curb was taken out when that was installed.
So it just had not been there?
There used to be curb on that street, I assume, but again, when the mobile unit was installed, I think they took the curb out.
Okay, so somebody's been gone for...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and that is... Never mind.
Okay, very good. Mr. Cooney,
as I'm looking at a satellite image of that Chiba area. And there's a sidewalk along Glendon that heads south that ends, and then it picks up again when you go past the other entrance for the church parking lot at Jesu. Would we extend, would that sidewalk be reconnected?
It's not part of this quote. I mean, if you wanted to, we could.
That's what I'm wondering. And I don't know if it was there 30 years before the mobile unit or not. But when you look at for anyone walking along that street, particularly children going to school, to have that sidewalk extended coming through.
I think those trees would have to come up. We did that.
That's why I'm looking at your pictures you took, and I'm looking at the satellite image, and there's a telephone pole that's there.
Yes.
And the trees were probably put there, probably is, some, like a green fence line area. I'm not advocating for the removal of any of that, but I'm just, as an observation, I don't know if anything may have been considered or as part of it.
At this point, I didn't ask the contractor for a quote for that. I didn't even look at how many trees and stuff would have to be removed.
I can't speak to the way. I'm just curious. And would there, with the curb, is there a need for a curb store curb at all for this, or is just going to get replaced?
It needs to be replaced. Yeah. Beyond just for the pole.
I'm just making sure there's no need for a curb store curb. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Cooney. Mrs. Watts.
Yeah, I was actually 2 weeks ago, I was over there, and I actually agree with Mr. Cooney. There needs to be a sidewalk over there, especially it's right by the school there. Kind of just, it's empty space.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I knew there was one on the other side of the street. It stops and starts, you're right.
Could we possibly, I guess this is for the law director, if we could vote to approve this piece, and then we can get quotes and come back for the sidewalk?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Sure. Okay.
As a subsequent change order? Or are we looking at it? Yeah.
Let me look at how many trees and things, or if that pole was in the way, or how we got. I don't really want to snake it through there, but.
Would that be Jesu Parish property, or would that be city property?
It's all public right away.
Public right away. Okay, maybe appropriate just to have a conversation with Pastor Father Manauskas, just as part of the conversation.
Yes. I can confirm, just from looking at the Google Street View, that there was no curb where that mobile unit was, so it's just not there.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Is there a motion to approve the change order?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Ms. Weiss, Ms. Weiser, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Mrs. Weiss. Any discussion? If not, Mrs. Thomas, we call roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is item P, a motion to approve the purchase of cardiac monitor LifePak 15 2023 from Stryker in an amount not to exceed $42,266.15. Chief Burke.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this was one of the items discussed at Safety Committee prior to this meeting. As indicated, this will be used as a reserve monitor to be kept in the station for any potential walk-ins, as well as for equipment if it's out of service. And this will come out of our capital equipment fund.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Now is there a motion?
So I was
Oh, I'm
say,
sorry.
I was just
Ms.
gonna,
Marshall.
thank you, Mayor. I was just going to say that we did discuss this today in the engineering and supplemented and first.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
So I'll motion.
Okay, Ms. Marshall makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? I'll second that. Second by Mr. King. Any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, we call roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Thank you. Next is item Q, a motion to approve the purchase of one 2024 Ford F-150 responder utility vehicle fully outfitted for a total cost not to exceed $74,287.87. Chief Burkle.
Thanks, Mayor. This will serve to replace Unit 1171, a 2007 F-250 utility pickup truck. We would recommend decommissioning that for response usage, but maintaining it for a plow vehicle for the city lots. The proposed vehicle is a small chassis that will not have a plow on it, and we have $55,000 budgeted in our replacement vehicle line for this item, so this would result in a budget amendment.
Very good, thank you, Chief. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, motion to approve by Mrs. Weiss. Okay, second. A second by Ms. Marshall. I didn't recognize you, Ms. Marshall. Did you want to speak about the safety committee treatment of the item?
No, also, this also was discussed and recommended in our safety committee tonight.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any other discussion on the motion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rapp?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Very good, motion carries. Thank you. Next is item R, a motion to approve the purchase of one fully outfitted 2024 Braun Chief XL Demo ambulance for a total cost not to exceed $422,596. Chief Burkle.
This unit is going to be replacing a 2014 ambulance that was also on our 5-year capital improvement plan. It will be replacing it with a slightly smaller chassis, but one that is more than sufficient. It will be a demo unit that will be brand new, but will allow us to have a cost savings of about $10,000 and shaving 1 to 2 years off the expected delivery, which would be estimated to be the year 2025. It is also equipped with the power cot load system and stair chair. Fully equipped price of $422,596. We have $275,000 budgeted for this item, so this would also result in an amendment.
Very good, thank you, Chief. Ms. Marshall?
And this item was also discussed in our safety meeting tonight and recommended for council. So a motion that we approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the purchase by Ms. Marshall. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Weiser. Any discussion on the motion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise?
Aye.
Mr. Rapp?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next is item S, a motion to approve the purchase and expenses of 4 new police vehicles, related equipment and installation from state contract holder Chapman Ford, multiple other vendors in the total amount of $266,932. Chief Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. This agenda item is to replace 4 of our vehicles in our fleet at this time that's due for routine replacement. Those vehicles are 7229, 7230, 7231, 7280, 2 of which are 2016 Ford Explorers and 2015 Ford Tauruses, and they'll be replaced with 2025 Ford Explorer police interceptor vehicles. The total amount that's been estimated for the vehicles, the equipment, and the outfitting is approximately $266,932. There is approximately $30,000 of unencumbered funds in the police capital fund, and this total dollar value will be further offset by item T, which identifies traded value, approximately traded value for both vehicles through Chapman Ford.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Chief Rogers. Ms. Marshall.
Yes, these items also were discussed in our safety meeting tonight and recommended for council approval. So a motion that we.
Motion to approve.
To approve.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Marshall. We have a motion to approve the purchasing expenses for the four new police vehicles by Ms. Marshall. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Sacks. Any discussion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks?
Aye.
Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall?
Aye.
Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Next is item T, a motion to trade in 4 police vehicles no longer to be in service to Chapman Ford for a credit of approximately $16,000, which will reduce the original expense of the $266,932. Chief Rogers, I think we can just incorporate prior marks. Do you have anything further to add?
Not this time.
Okay, very good. Is there a motion to approve the trade-in?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Simmons. Is there a second? I'll second. Second by Mr. King. Any discussion on the motion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Next, thank you, Chief. Next is item U, motion to accept the bid from Johnson's Landscaping, Inc. as the best and lowest bid for the 2023-01 Fall Citywide Tree Planting Program contract, and the amount not to exceed $43,931.40. Entering into a contract with the same. Mr. Pennington, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Bids for the 2023 City of New York Heights Fall Tree Planting Program were opened on Friday, October 23rd. There were 3 bids received for the project. The Seascapes Landscaping, or LLC, coming in at $52,596.30. Greenleaf Group of Valley City, coming in at $45,375.72. And our low bidder of Johnson's Landscape Incorporated from Mentor, Ohio, at $43,931.40. Johnson's Landscaping has professionally performed work in our previous tree planting programs. And with that being said, I do recommend their award in the amount of $43,931.40.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Pennington. Any questions for Mr. Pennington? And if not, Mr. Rock, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Pennington, I understand when we went out for bid, there were extra trees. There are still extra trees available?
There are 5 trees that tentatively have homes right now.
Okay.
We're working through that, but right now we're looking at 5 locations for those trees.
Okay, one thing I did notice though is the median on Warrensville Center Road. When we first put in that median, we had requested trees. I thought there were trees put in, but I didn't see any when I went past. So we can go back and look, but I thought that was something that we were going to eventually put into that median. So it looked like shakers. We have trees in the median there.
It's something we can look at. At this time, if these other 5 locations don't work out, we can evaluate that.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept the bid of Johnson's Landscaping?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Sacks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Marshall. Any discussion on the motion? Mrs. Thomas, we call the roll.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sacks? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Rock?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Aye.
Very good, motion carries. Next is item D, a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing legal proceedings, personnel, and real estate matters. We did have a previous executive session. I'm not aware of any need for an executive session otherwise this evening, so we will move on from item D and go to the reports of standing committees and taking of action thereon. Building and Housing, Ms. Weiser. You submitted a report.
Yeah,
right?
I submitted a report.
So, ditto, thank you. Community outreach, Mr. King?
No report, Mayor.
Very good, thank you. Economic development, Mr. Rowe.
Yes, Mayor, you had given the report during the economic development committee meeting, but there will be the next meeting on, I lost it here. The 29th, November 29th from 6 to 8.
Excellent, very good, thank you, Mr. Rowe. Finance, Mrs. Wise.
I'll report.
Thank you. Recreation, Mr. Green.
There's a doodle poll for a committee meeting that you should see in your mailbox. Meeting for this week of December 11th. And there will also be a second doodle poll to follow for in January for a meeting schedule based on the output of the December meeting.
Okay, very good. Safety, Ms. Marshall.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Service and Utilities, Mrs. Sims.
Thank you. There will be a Service and Utilities Committee meeting on December 5th at 6 p.m. here at WED.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sachs. Committee of the Whole, Mrs. Watson.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to schedule a committee of the whole meeting before the elections to continue to finish the different types of voting. So it'll be the 2nd or 3rd of December.
Okay, thank you. Are there any reports of special committees undertaking action thereon? Seeing none, is there any unfinished or miscellaneous business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
motion by Mr. Robb, is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. King. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Sachs? Aye. Mr. Cooney?
Aye.
Mrs. Wise? Aye. Mr. Robb?
Aye.
Ms. Marshall? Aye. Ms. Weiser?
Very good, we are adjourned, thank you.